All right, y'all, check out this super oxidized 2005 four-wind sitting out here on Lake Norman up here in North Carolina. As you can see, it still has like a little bit of a shine to it, but that embedded oxidation is still there. So never think just because you see a shine or reflection like that, that it's not oxidized, because it is. So let's go ahead and jump right into this, and thank you for coming to the channel. All right, and now we're jumping in with the heat gun and the eraser wheel. You know, the best part of the job. Not. All right, usually with like the worst side, you will have to go in with the eraser wheel, but thankfully with the bigger decals, the heat gun usually will pull it off. But as far as the pinstripe on top, we did have to use the eraser wheel, and you want to be very, very careful because you can burn into the gel coat. But as long as you don't burn too much into the gel coat, you can wet sand it out. We just finished getting all the decals off, the pinstripe and the bottom decal. We're actually going to re-decal this and re-pinstripe it. It should be here Wednesday, but as you can tell, super oxidized. It's really bad. This side isn't even as bad as the other side. So let's check out the other side. All right, here's the other side. Look at that. That's crazy. So now what we're gonna do is wash the boat. We're gonna do a hull wash on the bottom with Starbright hull cleaner. Get all this excess glue and residue off. Then we're going to start sanding. And we're going to use Merca sandpaper. We got 800 grit and 1000 grit to start off with. Right in here. There we go. We got Abernette. And we got a whole tote full of start products. And of course, we're going to do Level R, Elevate, Finish R, you know, the good stuff. So stay tuned. Okay, I got my piece of Merc 1000. I got folded up. And I'm just going in between the letters just like this. Very lightly. You don't want to put too much pressure when hand sanding. Definitely in between the letters because it will make the scratches too deep. Sometimes you just can't help it. Really, the best way to do it is just to take the letters off. But sometimes it can be hard finding the emblems and everything. So it usually looks pretty good even doing it just like this, I think. And he's starting the bottom with 800 grit. This side was really bad. This side didn't really respond well to 1000, so now we're going with 800. That's why I recommend keeping multiple grits on you, just in case one grit does not work good. So you see right here, it's drawing up. This is gonna look good. All right, and so far here is the finish after sanding. Barry is still working on the bottom, and it's a beautiful day out here in Lake Norman. Look how nice that is, and we're actually going to be putting pinstripe back on here. So that's gonna look really good. It's gonna look like a brand new four winds from 2005. So there are some spots on the bottom that we're gonna have to hit with 1000. So I did have to come up in here as always and get the little corners by hand because you can't fit the machine up in there. But let's go check out this other side where we have not sanded yet, and I got it taped up. I need to do one more layer of tape. It's something a lot of detailers don't do, and they'll leave a bunch of residue, compound residue everywhere because they won't tape off areas like that. Look how bad it is. Yeah, it has a shine to it. See, looks good sideways in the shade, but when you actually look at it, it's got embedded oxidation. You are not buffing that out. So let's carry on. Oh yeah, let me show you how he is sanding right quick. We have a short throw DA, one rotation only. And we got our Merca sandpaper on there with the interface pad. You don't want to put it straight on the machine itself. Put it on there. It lasts about 2 to 3 sections and wet it. And we are wet sanding. We're not dry sanding. We have been dry sanding recently on boats that are really, really bad. But if you don't have to do it, you just wet sand. You see how he keeps a nice, consistent pattern. He's doing what it needs to do. He's going over what I hand sanded to give it a nice pattern. and then you're gonna rinse it and repeat. Everybody has their own different little pattern on how they do things. Some people don't even rinse it, they just keep going, but we like to rinse it. And then rinse your pad off and get that sandpaper unclogged. That's very important, but wow, how far we've came already. All right, now we got most of the side compounded. I stopped right here because I actually need to sand down here again. This back was really, really bad. This whole side was really bad, but the back was like really bad. So I'm gonna have to sand that again. If you look in the sun, you got all those holograms in there, buffer trails. That's what a lot of people leave in there, unfortunately, because they take pictures of their work in the shade. Or they'll do a picture like this where you can't see the holograms, or it's not like in the direct sunlight. See how good it looks right there? Still looks good, but now I'm going to put the Lake Country double-sided yellow wool pad on this rotary. We're going to wash off the residue or just do an alcohol wipe, and then we're going to start with Elevate and polish it, then do a finishing polish after that with the roots. Another trick you can do when you're dealing with a really oxidized boat, like definitely this side because it's right in the sun. I mean, the surface is so hot and we're in October. This surface is very hot to touch. You can take invisible glass. We actually just dilute it with alcohol or self with water, and you spray it on the surface and you wipe after you're done compounding to make sure you got everything off there. You want to make sure that you actually wet sanded all the oxidation off. Because if it bleeds back, you can go ahead and hit it real quick, compound it again before you do the whole one step of polishing, however many steps of polishing you do, so you don't have to start back to plan one. So just keep that in mind. Do an alcohol wipe now, wash, whatever. When you're done, even if you wash it, I still recommend to go around the whole boat with alcohol just to make sure nothing bleeds back, because we did find a spot. We was able to sand it back off and refinish it. All right, now we're on to polish, and let me show you the difference or what a two-step polish is. Now this is the yellow wool Lake Country polishing pad for the rotary. Now right here, I have not got right here yet with the rotary polishing, but I did right here. See right there. Now this step is really just you want to add extreme glow, and it's going to cut out a lot of scratches. Now see, this is what rotary polishing leaves behind. It leaves behind an extreme gloss, but it also still leaves behind a little bit of a buffer trail, as you can see. And I wipe it with alcohol to make sure there's no residue that we're looking at. This is just from using the rotary in that pad itself. It adds extreme gloss. Now, let's go down here. Normally, you can use a short throw, but if you really want a super gloss, you can go in with the 21mm root with the blue Lake Country Force Foam pad. And this is the results right here of what you'll get. Right in the sun, honey. There is nothing to hide. Right in the sun. This is what this customer is going to see every single day when the sun shines on it. He's not going to come out here and see a bunch of swirls and holograms and a bunch of bull crap. No. We have good paying customers. They get good results, professional results. Look at that, right in the sun. Now, you could, you know, it really just depends on what kind of job you're dealing with. If we didn't have to do intense sanding on here like we did, then I would have just went in with a short throw and with ignition. But I really just wanted to make sure we get everything extremely flawless as possible. Now look, this is where we have not polished at all. Not polished, so compound, polish with the rotary. And then we do our two-step final polish down here. And that final polish that we're doing on here is with Stark Elevate This is not with ignition, this is with elevate, but I'm doing finish R on the yellow wool. So that's how we do it. Okay, now we're doing the bottom, and this part is pretty self-explanatory. As always, we're just going in with start level or compound, and then a 3M, or actually no, this is not 3M anymore. This is a Stark double-sided wool pad on the rotary. We're just compounding, then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom that we did on the top. Then here's the side. Barry's almost done sanding, but we're going to go back over it, make sure we got all our spots sanded real good and nicely, and then start our compounding process. Same thing as the other side. Yesterday, really the prep took the longest. Took, I'd say, two and a half hours trying to get all the decals off. Then on this side, the decals took even longer because they were so dried on there. I mean, this boat looks like it's wet because that's how glossy it is. I mean, that is insane. And you wipe it with alcohol and it don't come back because we got the core problem off of there without buffing on top of it. All right, now I'm hand sanding the back deck. If you kind of look over a little bit, you can see where I have not sanded, and this blue is like white. This is how bad it was. The back in that other side that we finished was really bad. So I'm going in by hand with Merca Abernet 800 grit, because this boat was really, really bad. And when you're done hand sanding, you want to make sure you get those hand sanding scratches out. There's no way the machine is going to get in these little corners and on here very great. So it's best just to do it little areas by hand and in your corners. Then you just want to wet it when you're done. Make sure you got it. And then we're going to go in with 1000 grit. Do the same thing, then compound. I highly advise, if you are doing it on someone's dock, definitely when the boat's over the water and everything, to charge more, because it is a lot more back breaking. So if you can get the customer's boat on a trailer, offer them a different price just so you don't have to do it over the water. Okay, and here's our finished product. Check out the back there. It was so bad. And look, you can barely even see where the old pinstripe and decals were. You're never going to fully get rid of the ghosting effect, just because if you think about it, this boat is 2 decades old, so that part of the gel coat was always protected. You'll never get it blended just perfectly. And look at that, there's no scratches, no swirls, right in the light. Remember how bad this side was? That's why I always say do an alcohol wipe down before you're fully done, because if anything comes back, it will come back as soon as that sun starts baking on it. Water moving and everything, and this thing polished up so good too. Looks great. So what we was gonna do is go ahead and put on the decals, the pinstripe and the brand new decals on the bottom, but FedEx did not show up in time today. So what we're doing is we are going to just put sealant on the top white, because spiders reappear so fast and they poop on it, and we don't want spider poop sitting on a fresh surface with no protection at all, because it is hard to get off. But we are not sealing below that line where the pinstripe and everything else will be, because we want to put our pinstripe on first and then seal over. So that's it, and we got back here really good. I'm gonna finish drying this boat off, and we got our flex blower. It's a rubber made tip, so if you hit the boat, it won't scratch it or anything. Let's check out this side one more time. And this works so good for blowing off the windows or even the letters, like right here. It looks amazing. I mean, look at this, and I haven't got sealant on it yet. That sealant's gonna put even more gloss on it. All right, y'all, it's day 4. Now we're putting the sealant on. This is Stark Hyper Hold, and we use a brand new plush towel every single time, and you wipe it right off. And I'm telling you, oh my gosh, this thing just puts even more of a gloss in it and makes it so slick. It's not dry like it is without it. Now we did come back to do the decal, But unfortunately, the decal, it was like thin at first. It wasn't wide, and then it turned like super wide. And it just did not look good on here. It did not look good. Definitely back here where it gets thinner, it doesn't look good. So this customer is going to hopefully find a thinner pinstripe, and we'll get it on there, because you can see from the factory where they brought in the blue with the white, it don't really look that good. It still looks good. Now if it's like that the whole way, you can get by without it, but a little bit of pinstripe will help that. But this looks very good. Let us know what y'all think in the comments. We're going to finish up and come back next Friday to put the bottom decals on, and hopefully a new pinstripe. So let's get this off. We'll see you next time. Okay, and here's the finished product. Look at this. The customer loved it. It does not even look like the same boat anymore. And another rule of thumb you want to remember always is to take the tape off immediately as soon as you're done compounding and polishing, because if it does bake in the sun, it will leave residue behind. And if you want to try out any of the Start Yacht Care products, you just go on their website. It's www.startyachtcare.com. Use code ZIPPY in all caps, ZIPPY15 at checkout. Now let us know what you think of this transformation down below.